Hi, everyone. I'm Ken Rakowski, and that is Nathaniel Getzel. Like to call him Get Sold. Okay, stop. And this is First Mover, where we talk about what's going on in the real estate market. This is buying, selling, understanding what's going on the commercial side and the residential side, where the opportunities are around the world. Like last week, we talked to somebody in Batumi, Georgia, and found out that Batumi is one of the hot spots that you probably never thought about buying property. Today, we're going to travel around the world. We have a lot of different interesting people that are with us today. Nathaniel, you get to start the show. What do you got for us today?
All right. So for everybody who doesn't know, I'm Nathaniel, and this is First Mover. I want to quickly start with the national stats so you get a good idea of what's going on in the market across the country. So overall, home sales are up about 20.7%. Pending listings are up 16.6%. And there's about 910,000 active listings. Mortgage applications are up 33%, which means that's actually a precursor for new home sales because most people get a loan before to buy a house. And so they apply for the mortgage first. And right now, even for cash buyers, a lot of them are getting loans because our interest rates have dipped down below 3%. So money is very, very cheap. The median home price has increased for over 100 consecutive months, which considering we're in a pandemic is pretty amazing. And the current median home price in the United States is higher than ever. It's about $350,000, which might not sound like a lot to you, depending on where you are.
Yeah, it does.
But that's a pretty high median home price. So overall, market is hot. Home buyers are swooping into the market to take advantage of low interest rates. And so in cities where people are moving out, the people who are staying inside, there's a lot of sales still in those cities with the lower prices, and people are buying houses that they never could have dreamed of before. Because so many people have vacated those cities, the prices have dropped quite a bit.
That's probably the touching point right there. Vacated or making exoduses of cities. We're looking at San Francisco, Los Angeles, New York, Chicago added to that list. So they're leaving these cities, or they're concerned. I see my friends in New York, they're all going out to Martha's Vineyard or to Connecticut. They're leaving. They're going to other states, not staying in New York.
In New York, they're either going upstate or they're going to Connecticut. I think over 16,000 New Yorkers have moved to Connecticut in the last 3 months. And the majority of those have either moved to Greenwich, where houses are selling in some cases less than 24 hours, or to the Hamptons, where the values have shot up over 25%, I believe. And they've had a declining market for the last few years. So that's a pretty amazing change. What you're seeing is the kind of housing people want's different, right? So a lot of people are moving to their second homes, or this is why new home builders, new home builds are up 17% because you're seeing a return of the McMansion. People want space. They're not worried about the floor they're on or what they're close to. Now they want to be far. Maybe they want some chickens. They want a view. They want some land. They want a private pool. So there's a huge demand for new homes, and the new home builders are building quite a bit, which I know last week we talked about Santa Clarita, and that's where you're going to see most of the new homes in this area being built. But out there you have to be careful because there's all kinds of fees around new homes like Melrose. So Santa Clarita has this thing called Melrose, which is a fee that's charged on top of your taxes, which are another big issue we'll get to in a minute. But it's on top of your taxes because it's in areas where houses are built where the city's deemed that they don't have enough city services. And so what your Melrose pays for is the infrastructure, the schools, the roads. And so it's an additional fee, usually for the first 10 to 20 years of that house existing. So that's something you have to look out for new home sales as well. But in response to some questions that we got last week, home sales above $10 million across the country are actually up 10%. So that luxury market is absolutely skyrocketing right now.
Got it.
And
Okay, so can we real quick touch upon a couple things? I'm wondering,
absolutely.
hey, Nick, Boston, are you seeing a change in Boston, the city? Are people leaving Boston?
Yeah, I think people are moving out of the city. It was a before COVID, it was a huge trend. All the adults that their kids went to college or graduated college were moving into the city, and now from the people I've talked to, everybody's wanting to move out.
So you're seeing people leave Boston. And let's go to Mark. Hey, Verge. Mark Verge, everyone, just so you know, Mark, Westside Rentals is his company, sold it to apartments.com. He's been in the commercial and on the residential side for 20 plus years. He owns tons of properties all over the United States. Nathaniel, is he a good guy or is he a pain in the ass? What do you think, Nathaniel?
He's a great guy, actually. Mark is one of those real special humans. That's just
Mark, you're special.
he's wildly successful and not a jerk. So
Okay.
weird, but
Verge.
I see his umbrella.
I see his Copacabana umbrella up there. I guess we have to wait for Mark to pop back in, but we are seeing this. So I was watching you guys today on the WhatsApp chat regarding this whole trend that I'm seeing. Guys, I always try to be a year ahead of everything to 2 years. Harry could actually contest. Harry, I'm pretty much on top of things. And I love California. I love it. I love it. But can I pay the premium of living here? So every $100,000 you guys make is going to go to a California, or $20,000 of that's going to go to a California tax. So your question is California worth $20,000 every $100,000? That's kind of the question. So if you're going to make $1 million next year, fingers across that you guys are, it's $200,000 worth your ticket to live here. I have a hard time with that because I don't think it's being spent properly. And I'm not the governor, so I can't decide where it's going to go. And I'm wondering if there's a better alternative. Now, I know you don't want to hear that, Nathaniel, because you sell houses or you have people buy houses, but I'm feeling something happen. Now, here's a thought. Akira, I want you to hear this specifically. You have a kid. You don't have little humans. You don't have humans that are this tall that eat a lot of food. You have kids that you could almost put in big shoe boxes, okay? And that's a beautiful thing. Like John Sukami, he's got big kids, and big kids are big problems. Little kids, little problems, big kids, big problems. It's always the formula, always works. So there are new services that are popping up that are subscription services that are Airbnb on steroids. And one, which I hope they have on next week on Saturday Metal, is called Inspirato. And Inspirato is a $5,000 monthly membership to live in mansions that are $4 to $20 million a piece in different parts of the world. So you can stay in one of those mansions for a month at a time. So if you want to be in the south of France in one of the mansions, and then United Arab Emirates in Dubai or in Thailand, they have 400 properties around the world. So Sandy and I are going, why not for the next year live in different parts around the world? $5,000 is what you would spend on decent Airbnbs in a month. So Akira, imagine you just going, hey, let's homeschool. Let's just go around the world and check things out that way. And last, Nathaniel and I were just talking to Jeffrey Hazlett, who's in South Dakota. South Dakota is zero state tax. So that 20 grand you were going to give California, South Dakota is zero. Now you're going, fuck, South Dakota. Ugh. According to Jeff, and he lives there, if you can show that you've been there 14 days a year, they consider you a resident. 14 days a year. So in my mind, it's like saying, all right, South Dakota, every year for those 14 days, I'm going to write a book, or I'm going to do a conference, or I'm going to, whatever, meditate. I'm going to hold my breath for those 14 days. But that will save you 20 grand for every $100,000 you make. In my mind, it's not a bad deal. So this is kind of maybe those hacks that we have to look at. Now, Nathaniel, what he said was go off, buy some property for 5K, own the property, and then all of a sudden it really looks great because you have some property, you have a mailing address, you probably have some type of administrator picking up a mail and sending it to you wherever you're at. But do people do this a lot, Nathaniel, when it comes to trailers, where they pick a certain state saying that's where my trailer is registered?
Well, the beauty of the trailer is you can say, you can register that trailer wherever you want and then drive somewhere else. And if you don't own land, you can, I could be a South Dakota resident living in my registered South Dakota trailer, wherever it is, wherever it's parked.
Okay, where's Adam Scott? Where are you, Adam? Adam Scott, I see you are there. There you are. Hey,
Yeah.
Adam Scott, say hi.
Hey,
There you are. Oh, what are you doing? Adam, Burn, why do you have Adam Scott? What are you like
that is my middle name. When I actually re-registered the Zoom, for some reason, I put my full name in and it just took Scott rather than Burns. I'm not sure why. But by the way, Ken, you have to be careful on that state tax thing, because even if a state says, oh, you can be a resident of the state, California is notorious about not caring.
Yep.
So yes, if you wanted to say live in a low tax state like Utah and you were going to spend the bulk of your time there but didn't want to pay any tax at all, you could do, say, Utah for 180 days plus South Carolina for 15 days and pay your zero tax, but you still got to be out of the state of California over 180 days.
I get it, and that's exactly why I was saying to Akira and you guys why that Inspirato is interesting. You live in different parts of the world, and you come here when you're necessary. You don't have to be here all the time. I'm just looking at a way to save a ton of money so we could buy property from Nathaniel. Okay, so all that money that we save, we can invest with Nathaniel. That's maybe my idea.
There you go.
But you have the killer house, Adam. But Adam, taxes are going to go up pretty astronomical. So, hey, by the way, Steve Weinberg, happy belated birthday. Yesterday was your birthday, buddy. Happy birthday, Steve.
Woo, happy birthday.
Wasn't your birthday?
Hey.
What do you mean? It wasn't your
November
birthday?
8th is my birthday, but thank you.
Dude.
Is it my half birthday?
Yeah, no, it's not. I got a little reminder it was your birthday. So hey, get excited for November. Woo woo.
Okay, well, thank you.
So this excess we're seeing in California is happening. What's going on in places like Chicago? What's going on there, Nathaniel?
So Chicago is real interesting. We haven't really talked about Chicago before, so I wanted to look at it a little bit here. So in Chicago, it's interesting because homes, the contract, so meaning when I say a home contract, it means a home is put into escrow, right? Here it's called put into escrow. Somebody is in the process of buying a home, and that's up 17% in the last 3 weeks. The median home prices went up 6.7%, and the number of contracts is up 66% year over year. So it's there's a lot of activity in Chicago. The median prices are up over 6.7%. The weekly prices are up, but even there, people are looking more to move to the suburbs. People are looking for more space. So the suburbs of Chicago are absolutely on fire.
On fire.
There's a lot of activity still in the city, but that's more people who are selling and then either buying up, or there's a lot of investment properties because the prices are so far down, and the rents are still, even though they're down there, they're still, you can still make good money renting. But the suburbs are absolutely on fire around Chicago right now. Nobody wants to be in a big city, especially in a vertical living situation. So it's not as bad as like a New York or a San Francisco. Chicago, the prices are still up, right? But people are still moving out of the city quite aggressively.
Here, I'm going to do a quick poll. And my poll that I want to do with you guys real quick, and I'm just kind of curious with all of you in here. The poll is simple, and that is, with the advent of Zoom, does it affect where people will live? Meaning, does Zoom basically say, hey, I can work remote, I'm going to think about moving? In your mind, or do you think, Zoom's just another tool? It really doesn't affect the way we're going to live. It's just another tool to enhance work. But otherwise, do you think on the other side, does Zoom change the way you look? Like, I'm going to live in the city because I was close to the office. Now that I'm not needing to go to the office, I can do it on Zoom. Do I need to live in the city? Do I need to pay that premium? So let me give you an idea, guys. This is what we got. So the majority of you think it does. So a majority of you say, absolutely, it does affect, and this is the way things are. We got Mark Verge with us. Hey, Mark.
Really? Can you hear me, Ken? I'm old.
Yes, I could hear you, Mark. Ah, there he
I
is.
love it.
So Mark, last week we had this really ornery lawyer on who was freaking awesome. And this lawyer who basically works on residential sides and commercial sides was saying, the way it's going in California right now, landlords, unless they're getting subsidized by the government, if you're a tenant, don't pay rent. Don't pay rent.
You know, they keep saying that, but I love it. I have a guy who rents one of my buildings in the Arts District, but he's coming up for a new lease in 6 months. So yeah, don't pay rent. Then I'm not going to renew your lease. So I think it's a bad play. It's a business deal whenever you do. I mean, I have a lot of places that I pay rent to my landlord. Topa, for instance, gave me free rent for 6 months. They came to me and said it. So I think that move of don't pay in rent is a bad move because everyone's getting hurt right now. So cut me a deal. A lot of my owners came at half price, but to just say flat out don't pay rent, I think it's an a-hole move. But an ordinary lawyer, who knows?
But one of your locations where you're renting from, you asked for a deal and they wouldn't do a deal.
Actually, they did. I have a little place called the OP Cafe, and they weren't going to do a deal at all, and they just gave me 6 months free.
They did. I heard that they weren't going to do a deal, and you were just.
I went all in on that one. They were not, but I was a little shocked because I had carried them during the pandemic, March, April, May, June, July, and I asked them for some kind of break, and they said no. So I said I'll move, and they gave me 6 months. So I did have to go all in.
And how were they when you asked for a deal? Were they almost like, forget it, no way? Or
they're a little bit older. So I think they were just surprised because the first time ever they probably heard that anyone asked for a deal.
So let's really talk about you. You're an LAer, and you were born here. You smell like LA, man. When you leave LA,
not good. Isn't that worst thing you've ever said? Oh my God, what I do to you?
Smell like. So, Mark, I'm leaving. I'm getting out of here.
Nah, don't get out. I hear this all the time. Don't get out. Look at this. Ken, nowhere to go. Right here. Right here. Not so don't go. We're going to come back strong. You know, I was in Newport Beach. Really nice. It's really nice. And I'm white. It's way too white. Way too white. Just, no, don't do it. They all say it. I've heard it forever. Everyone's going to leave LA. Don't go. You'll be back. We'll see you. Have fun in Jerusalem. Yeah, good luck. Now, I just think we're going through a little rough patch, and we got to get our politics a little together. We got to fix this homeless problem, but we need a little of the smell of LA. I don't smell that bad, but you know, it's kind of life.
I didn't say you smell bad. I just smell like you smell like LA. There's nothing wrong with that. But you said something really important. We need to fix the homeless problem. Do you really think that that's something that's fixable quickly, or is that another Schwarzenegger?
Yeah, that's another Schwarzenegger. I don't know if it's fixable, but I think we have to do our best. There's some guys in Santa Monica who've done a great job. Supposedly 95% of all the people who are homeless can be fixed with medication. So let's hope. But to run out of here or tell me that you're going to go move because of Zoom, I don't buy it. I don't see the move. And I think we got great beaches and we got a lot of movie stuff, gaming stuff that's happening right here. So the move is always, we're out of here. We're going to Texas. Like, good luck. I've been to Texas.
You know, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Let's talk about that. John Livesay, you just did that move. You went from LA to Austin. How has that gone for you?
Well, I decided to sell my place in January, and luckily it sold in 2 days. And then I had to find a place to live here faster than I expected because I wasn't going to move till I sold my place. And then my sister flew out from Chicago, and we did the 3-day drive from LA to Austin. It got here March 1st and moved into the condo I'm renting across the street from this park. And the irony for me, Ken, was I lived in Hancock Park for the last 10 years. I was in LA out of 30, and there's no park in Hancock Park. And now to live across the street from a park that is 300 acres, and it completely blew my mind that I'm living on a word I didn't even know existed, aquifer. So there's a Barton Springs pool where Robert Redford learned how to swim, and it's the same temperature all year long, and it's so green here. I sent you and Nathaniel a couple pictures if you want to open your email and share what that looks like, because it's so hard to describe. taking a walk along this area where you literally see turtles on trees, and the water is so green and clear, like you're at the Jamaica, you can see the bottom of it and swim in it.
Yeah, but you're landlocked. You're in Texas.
I was landlocked in Hancock Park. I wasn't driving out to the beach very often with the traffic. I don't miss the ocean at all when I have a lake and water here. There's 3 different kinds of lakes. So for me, I was never a guy to go sit on the beach. I'm fine.
You could have possibly lived in West Covina then, is what you're saying, because you never went to the beach. You never took advantage of it.
Yeah,
But
it was.
and the reason I bring this up is you're there. We have Nick who's in Boston. We have a lot of you guys in different parts of the country. Why do we leave where we're at? Like I said, I love it here. Mark, you love it here is because you really never been anywhere else.
That's true. That's true. And he is right. I have a couple bars in Austin, and they are really nice. Rainy Street's great. The place goes nuts. But I think leaving LA is a premature move.
Well, you know, the majority of people who are moving, if you move out of state, it's mainly because you don't have kids, you don't have a business that locks you into being in this spot, right? And you don't have like deep ties. Ken's different. Ken has ties everywhere because he knows the world. But most people, you know, most people have families or ties here. If they move, they just move from, like, for example, like Silicon Valley. A lot of those people are moving to Lake Tahoe and they're making their second house their first house.
Well, listen to this. Keith Montgomery. Keith, let me bring on Keith real quick. Keith, unmute yourself. You were just up in the valley, up in San Francisco. What was it like up there?
Have you ever seen that movie I Am Legend?
Yeah, of course.
It was like that. I mean, you didn't see people I didn't see people for a few hours when I was walking, and I'm downtown. I stayed in the financial district, had some business to do. I couldn't believe how many people weren't around, and the cars were it was just very few. And so I talked to a friend who's there, and he said most of the technology companies are walking down a technology corridor. They're gone because not just Zoom, right? The idea of, hey, I can work from home and I'm not going to be going back here for a year. They started moving to Ohio and other places. Literally, I heard they just buy the houses right there for cash because they've been used to $2 million to $5 million prices, right? Which is a very new thing. That's the thing that I also was explained to me, saying, you know, California's not been bumping for, you know, the 70s, 80s. You know, all the other places like Austin, those are just kind of starting the upswing. So that was the conversations I had with people.
Let's ask Mark. Mark, you've been here buying property for the last 25, 30 years. When did you see that hockey stick just bounce up? Like, what year was it here in LA?
95 to 2005. Yeah, and I think just a lot of kids, you know, they're in Ohio, wherever, they want to be movie stars. And we have the entertainment business, no matter what. Everyone says always, like, we're going to stay in Ohio, we're going to stay in Chicago, wherever. But most kids wake up and they want to be movie stars. So I think this is a place. But, you know, as usual, I could be wrong, but I just think the drive to come out here is going to be amazing still. I mean, and we have the gaming too. So Activision and everyone else. So as long as that keeps going, I do think LA is still all right.
Let me ask Brandon. Brandon, you live in Minnesota. Did I say it right? Minnesota.
Yeah, I'm not really here by choice. My wife's here. Her family's here. And so after I convinced her to travel the country with me, I told her she could go wherever she wanted. And sadly, it was in this damn state. Sorry for anybody that lives there.
So what you're saying is you moved to the state where you had ties.
I did it for love. Yeah, my wife is the one that convinced me, but I probably won't be here another year.
Yeah, wrote his book just came out, everyone, and the TV show. But you did get to bounce around the United States. If you could live anywhere, where would you want to live? If family ties weren't the issue.
Yeah, my goal is within the next year to be in Nashville, Tennessee. I've had thoughts of LA because for what I do, and I have so many friends in LA. But the traffic thing bothered me, but also the taxes. Nashville I love because it's an easy flight to LA. It's an easy flight to Florida. And I love country music. But, I mean, I've been in so many different cities. It's cool to always travel.
Yeah, I get that. And you don't even have kids either, so you can do that.
No kids.
Now, Mark, I want you to ask yourself, since you've been watching this, the taxes, and then there's this thing that many people that are not in California don't know about is Proposition 13. So the taxes are going up to 15%, maybe even 20. is that premium worth it in your mind?
To me, yes, but for some people, I mean, Nashville's great. Everyone I've talked to who's gone to Nashville loves it. Austin's great. It's kind of like depends on your view. What makes you happy? To me, this is much different. I mean, my whole family's here. My family, everyone's lived here for generations, so we're here. So I'm not moving, but I wouldn't blame. So when a buddy of mine, he's number one guy at our bar group. He just bought a house in Austin, happy as can be. But it's kind of what makes you happy.
Can you explain Proposition 13?
So it was a property tax that was brought in about 78, and it was to guarantee that you only paid a 1.1 quarter on your property, and it stayed the same. So it never goes up.
Of the
So
purchase
they're
price.
trying to get rid of that for homeowners. And it was built by Howard Jarvis and the guy who owned the Golden Bull, Rich Grimm. And they wrote it in because they owned a bunch of apartments. That's basically why they did it. And everyone's trying to get rid of it, but I think it stays. But who knows? They're going to put it on the ballot again.
I don't think it's going to go anywhere. But I had a question for Mark about the, not about the taxes, but, out by Apple Valley, there are some groups that are buying huge swaths of land, and they are expecting massive evictions. Because for the first time, I'm sure you saw this in certain price points for the first time in like 20 years, you saw a pretty significant reduction of rents in certain sectors here in LA, which is significant. And depending on what the government does, and they're expecting massive evictions, and they think that what they're planning for is people to move into buses and mobile RVs and mobile different living situations. So they're actually buying big swaths of land that are about 20-minute drive to Big Bear Lake in Apple Valley. And they're setting it up for hundreds of these people to set up and live there full time. I was curious what you think of that.
I would not be a huge investor in that. I see so many jobs here. I mean, I have guys, my assistant left, and he's driving for not Uber. He's doing the Postmates. He's at $45 an hour.
Yeah, but that's
so every
change now.
makes $45 an hour.
But all that's
So
going to change.
What's that?
California just basically voted that they have to be employees now. So Postmates,
That's for Uber and Lyft. But
and Lyft, all three of them are going to leave California because of that.
They're all leaving?
They're leaving California because of that.
So you think Uber and Lyft will not be in California?
They're going to leave.
Uber has said they will not function for the next few months in California if
6
that
months.
is overturned.
Well, I can't blame him for that.
Yeah.
No, I have a feeling Uber in 1 year will still be in California. Okay. And I'm willing to bet anybody that.
That's why when I look at where John is in Austin and we're talking about all this, what craziness do you hear about Austin? What's going on in Austin? What's the drama?
Does Austin have Uber?
Of course they
Does
do.
Austin
has Uber. Yes, they do. Mm-hmm.
Finally.
But you have to wait longer than you normally did because there's fewer drivers. Well,
John,
the thing that's yes, Nathaniel.
Oh, go ahead. Tell
you're gonna show those pictures because I think if people see where I am, it'll blow their mind because you and I talked before that I thought Texas was this big, flat, deserty place as opposed to this lush green place.
That was my first wife.
Yeah, but the thing that's interesting about Austin is it's like Laguna Beach inside Orange County. It's this liberal, keep it weird, creative place like Laguna Beach is inside the Orange Curtain. So while the capital is here, the governor's Republican and the mayor is Democrat. So you've got this yin and yang fighting over how to handle the homeless issues, and obviously a lot of protests downtown. But the downtown is so small compared to downtown LA.
But then you have that homeless issue again.
Much smaller than LA percentage-wise, but they do have it.
So why is it then, Mark, Verge, when we go down to Manhattan Beach, in those areas, we don't see homeless issues? What are they doing down there that we don't see in other parts of Los Angeles? What are they doing there?
If I could figure that out, Ken, I'd love to figure that out because I can't figure that out.
Because you go there, you know they're not there.
So part of it is those are incorporated cities, right? And so incorporated cities have different rules than LA. LA basically, I'm oversimplifying here, but basically you're not allowed to touch homeless if you're like LAPD. They have a special instruction not to touch them because LA City doesn't have enough beds to house homeless. So that means based on some of the court rulings, they can't do anything about them on the street. Now, the reason, like if you come to Calabasas where my office is, you don't see homeless people. There are 0 homeless people. You probably have that, Harry, you probably have that same experience in Westlake Village. And that's because the number of beds per homeless people, the number of beds exceed the number of homeless people that are counted in those cities. So literally, the police are allowed to pick them up and remove them from the city because there's those services. Now in LA, the homeless population is counted far higher and the bed count is far lower. So that's why the mayor has basically made a special instruction to LAPD, which several sergeants have confirmed, that they basically aren't allowed to do anything because they're worried about getting sued. In Manhattan Beach, it's different.
We're going to get a house in Sedona.
Sedona. There you go.
There you go.
Still got those taxes.
Now, there's other ways to deal with the homeless issues. Just LA has chosen not to do it. And whether it be politically driven or financially driven, I don't know, but there are definite ways to solve the problem. You can see it in other states and other cities, they've done it. And it's not just arresting and moving them somewhere else like they do in Calabasas.
Let me ask about Carlsbad, because Akira, you're in Carlsbad, right? Akira?
Sorry, guys. There we go. Yeah, I was in Playa Vista, 5 minutes from Ken's home, all of last year, paying $4,500 for a 2-bedroom, 1,200 square foot place. But in Playa Vista, right? So you kind of have everything in walking distance. It's a bubble. And we were one of probably a dozen other friends similar to ours, like, 30s, 1 or 2 kids, 30s and 40s, work for themselves, work from home. So Playa Vista is like a dream if you want that. We decided we wanted a yard, and we looked as far south. We looked at Hermosa Beach. Then we realized we were looking further and further out of LA, and we thought, why don't we just move back to North County, San Diego, where we've lived off and on for 10 years. Found perfect spot in Carlsbad for like $300 less than what we were paying. And now we're in a 4-bedroom, 2,300 square foot home with a big yard. However,
you didn't want to go to Ojai? You didn't want to go further north to Santa Barbara area?
I did Ojai for a few years, and it just felt too isolated. I mean, it was a little bit too isolated. Also, the wildfires are a bit of a concern for me. And I think that's going to be an annual thing in LA and the Valley. And, down here where it's a little bit safer, more quiet, we could be affected.
Did you know anyone down there? Because I want to go back to something Nathaniel said. He said you go somewhere because you could connect with people. Did you know people in Carlsbad?
Yeah, because we've spent so much time here, we have quite a bit of community. And that's one thing that I would say, because we almost put a down payment on a house in Austin about 4 months ago. All of our friends are buying into these master plan communities where you can spend $400K, build a brand new, designed to your specs, 4-bedroom home. Everything's new and nice and clean, and that's like amazing. But we weren't sure. Like, we've got a lot of friends there, but our decision was more based on community and culture. That's the question you got to ask. Like, what culture do you want to surround yourself with?
But John moved there not knowing anyone, John, and now
John.
Now you found. I wanted to ask John, how did you choose where to move? Like Brandon, he made a whole show and book about moving around the country because they wanted to find the best place. You seem to have a laser focus and know where to go. How did you choose?
Only because you weren't inside my head. I knew I wanted to be out of LA, so I looked at San Diego, Santa Barbara, and then I had the Ken Rakowski moment of, I don't think I want to pay income tax on my 401k, as it's rapidly becoming time to tap into that. So then I started looking at all the other states that don't have it. Portland, rains too much. Florida, too many hurricanes. Vegas, a lot of my speaker friends live there, but I never really vibed with it. And then when I found what Austin was about and the no state income tax, that's what made it a laser focus for me. I even looked at Lisbon, Portugal. A friend of mine retired there, but my mom and sister begged me not to leave the country. So,
so Mark, Teddy's asking. Teddy, you want to ask a question specifically about taxes? Teddy?
Yeah. Hey, I'm just thinking, Ken and Quigley talk about the taxes increasing up to 20%, which they're currently at between 10 and 13. So we're talking about up to a 10% increase due to COVID needing to get some of their money back, the state needing to get some of their money back. What's to say that other states aren't going to increase their taxes as well? And should we be looking for that? You know, if I'm moving out and not realize that the other state is doing the same thing.
Mark, you want to answer that?
Not a tax expert. I mean, I'm not a big guy moving and going to Texas or other places, but I would think other states are going to raise their taxes. But what do I know?
Yeah, I agree with Mark on that. I think that's one of the problems with, you know, for a while, everyone was talking about moving to Puerto Rico because you're only to be there 30 days and moving this place and that place. Eventually, if it gets popular and it's a great place to live, taxes will go up, right? So there's other, I suggest really getting a good accountant and figuring out where to put your LLCs and where to put your corporations, you know, whether it be Wyoming or Delaware, to adjust your taxes. Now, Mark has a different, you know, Mark and I have a different kind of restraint around that, because when it's real estate based, you're taxed in that state, and it's real hard to get around that.
Really hard to get around that.
Really hard, yeah. But there are ways, Mark, and if you're having issues with that, I have a great accountant for you to talk to and a few financial advisors who have, we're recently actually targeting exactly that issue. So that's something, if you would like, I'd happy to talk to you privately about later. But I had a question for you. Earlier, you were mentioning that your businesses are just on fire right now. Was that in the real estate space, or was that more your restaurants you were talking about earlier?
The restaurants are real busy. Outside dining is doing well, and the people in the apartments are still paying their rent and seem very happy. So we haven't had the fall off that everyone's talking about, but maybe I'm just lucky. But also, I always wonder, like the Wayne Hughes, and I love Wayne, but he's with Public Storage. He moved to Kentucky 6 months a year to save on taxes. And is that a way to live? I mean, the guy's worth $10 billion, owns Public Storage, and Warren Buffett lives in Nebraska and is so proud that he eats McDonald's every day. It's like, I don't know, there's some point, like, do you enjoy your life? Like, they're never going to spend the money they have, and they're in freaking Nebraska and Kentucky. It's like,
but you're going to bounce around. I mean, that's the idea. The idea is to travel.
Spending 6 months in Kentucky, put a gun in my mouth. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Get over it. I mean, like, okay, I get it. You're going to save some money on taxes, but dude, we're only here for a minute.
Look,
Find healthy food there.
I agree with Mark. I mean, I work on people just from neighborhood to neighborhood, a few blocks away, because it changes your lifestyle, and the way your lifestyle is changes everything about the way you live, how successful you can be, you know, the people you meet, the things you do. So to me, lifestyle is everything, and that's really what you're paying for here. I mean, my little brother, he owns a house here, but he moved to Tulsa, Oklahoma, because he can pay for his house there. I mean, it's crazy what he did, basically. But he lives for free in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and uses the rent from his house here to pay for his house there and his house here. It's
so, hey, Jared's got a question. Jared, why don't you ask the question? I think it's a great question. Go for it.
I did a job a while back. I did a recurring on a show in Louisiana, and I got taxed on both in Louisiana and in California, which was it blew my mind. So I'm wondering if I do the option of moving to another state, and like you'd said, Nathaniel, if you get a trailer, you can have that registered anywhere. So the two questions are, could I technically have a trailer registered somewhere, but have it in LA? And then also the other option is, if I do move to another state and then I work here, because my agent, I have two agents here and everybody's here, and I still continue to work here, am I taxed in both places? I guess those are sort of a twofold question that go together.
I think that's a CPA question.
But you know, I think you got to realize, though.
I mean,
he's got to realize, just write that off. I mean, you will have to declare all your income, but you write all that off. I mean, it's not like you're going to be taxed on both. You got to write off your travel. I mean, that's something that's an easy CPA question. You write everything off that you did. In fact, that's probably a money earner on that one.
Maybe. Let's go to Steve Weinberg. Steve.
Hi. I was just wondering the situation of having like maybe a second home in Arizona. Like, what's the implications there? You guys are local. What about real estate there?
Ryan, you have a second home where you're at right now, right, Ryan? Ryan's over in Lake Tahoe. And there you are, Ryan.
Hi, guys. Yes.
What's the tax implications of having a second home? Now, where's your main home? Is it Lake Tahoe or is it in California?
Thousand Oaks.
It is Thousand Oaks.
In Lake Tahoe, are you on the California side or Nevada side?
Nevada.
Got it.
So why wouldn't you register as at your primary? Because you're not there enough. That's why.
Yeah, I'm not here enough.
Yeah. So your question, Steve, is what? Because Ryan could probably answer it.
So if there's any tax implications, you want to live in the state more than 6 months of the year? Or I have a business here, you know, and I'd like to, we have a recording studio, and I like to hang here. But if we live part of the year in Sedona, what's the tax implications there, and how would that work? Does anybody know?
I don't know the answer. I don't know.
Just Arizona, anyone in Arizona? No? All right. It demands research.
So hey,
I can send you a great CPA. You can figure it out.
I do want to answer something Andrew Perry said. He said California alleges they could track your cell phone. I've heard the same thing. Matter of fact, I heard that they look at your area code on top of it, which I found out it's not true. It's not if you have a 310 area code that they're going to automatically tax you because you're in Los Angeles. But they can track your cell phone. And generally, it's when you're starting to make the millions of dollars where they're going to go after you. So
not just your cell phone, but your spending, like where you're spending your money on your card. I've seen that be an issue also.
Yeah. I mean, you're going to have to be legit, guys. You know, remember, I lost all my money last time is because I was trying to avoid taxes by putting my money in a foreign country, and all that's gone now. So I had my lesson learned, and that is just be legit. Now, being legit means you're going to have to move to another state for at least 100, or stay out of California for at least 186 days. Now, if you could turn that into an opportunity, I think why not? Especially with COVID right now, Zoom's given us this beautiful thing of it's okay to be crazy because everything's crazy right now. So test out crazy, see what it does, because you can't mess up right now because everything's messed up.
Can like move to the Ozark with your family and launder money for the Mexican cartel crazy?
Sounds like a great TV show. Yes.
Yeah.
I did just sound like Justin Bateman, didn't I? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But I think there's a unique time right now. I mean, Justin, you're kind of landlocked because you have to stick around for Amazon. You can't go anywhere, right?
No, actually. So I'm going to go to New York for 3 months.
Or where everyone's leaving.
There you go.
Like leaving. No, I have to stay here.
Where are you staying in New York?
You're not going to New York City, are you?
No, going to upstate, going to Rochester.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
I have a question actually regarding that. Brandon has traveled all over, and to such detail that he has written books and TV shows and all this great content around it, which we should all check out. But I want to know what are the things you looked at, right? What, like, you traveled to find what was the best, but what were your qualifiers? What did you look at? What was, you know?
So to be completely honest, my wife and I sat down, we wrote a list of 12 cities we wanted to go to, and we ended up living in 6 of them. Like the cities we were in were Scottsdale, Arizona, Austin, Texas, which I love, by the way, and I love the springs down there.
That's a fun place.
Boston, Massachusetts, Denver, Colorado, and Nashville, Tennessee. But I would tell you the things I learned in terms of the cities, and I made a lot of fucking mistakes, was I went into the cities, and when we lived there, we were there during the times where it was most expensive. So like we went to Austin during South by Southwest, and I didn't even think about it. So we couldn't find a place for a while, so we spent a month in a hotel, and then we spent a lot of money. We then finally got a temporary rental. When we were in Boston, we were there during graduation, so I paid almost $6,000 for 30 days in Boston. So I guess if you guys want to go the digital nomad route, if you guys are thinking about that, I mean, you were talking about it, Ken, in terms of, is it Inspirata or whatever the heck it was?
Inspirata, yep.
Yeah, I mean, that's interesting to me because I was looking at it and I was probably spending $4,000 to $6,000 a month in terms of different places I lived. And But what I did do that was smart is I got connected with all the real estate agents in the different cities. I did get to stay in Scottsdale in a mansion for 6 weeks for free. So that was cool. But I did have a film crew. What we said is, hey, we'll create a commercial for your place if you let us stay here for 6 weeks. That didn't cost me anything. But yeah, I mean, I could tell you all the cool places to go during the right times of the year, but it may cost you a little money.
That's why Inspira is interesting. So I looked at places. By the way, the hack to get into Europe is, of course, you have to self-quarantine in a country where they say it's okay. Meaning if you were in that country for at least 14 days and you go to Europe, they're going to let you go roam around. You don't have to go through all the self-quarantining once you get to Europe. So like Mexico, like San Miguel or Tulum, they say, hey, go there. You're supposed to self-quarantine. They don't pay attention to anything. So you can hang out in Tulum for 2 weeks, which is great. And then you can fly over to Europe and you're automatically in. So I'm starting to look at some of these hacks so you can get into Europe. And that's one of them. Otherwise, you have to self-quarantine when you go over to Europe. But
well, you know, the other one is you get a passport to, and a lot of the countries now, if you just spend $500,000 on a property, you can get a passport basically guaranteed in that property. So
either 14 days in Mexico, which will cost you a couple of $1,000, or $500,000 doing Nathaniel's route.
Well, it's $500,000 a passport. So now you have access to all kinds of countries and you're making income in whatever that core country is. And maybe you start getting taxed as a citizen over there.
Yeah, that's an American problem you got going right there. Just $500,000.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's fine. But a lot of places you can finance it. Like in Batumi, for example, you put 10% down, you put 50 grand down, you buy it. There's no interest on your loans there.
No, but Georgia is not considered the best country to have a passport from.
That's true, but I'm just using as an example. A lot of countries don't have interest on their credit. Like, a lot of the Asian countries don't, and things like that. There's several countries. There's a lot of little hacks you could do.
What do you mean I can't get into this country with an Iranian passport? I paid $500,000 for it.
That's right.
You got to be conscious of that. Hey, Nathaniel, I know you wanted to go through a lot. It was nice to have Mark Verge on here. I wanted to ask real quick before we go through everything. John, you're in Austin. You've been there for 6+ months. Honestly, be honest.
Yeah.
What do you miss of LA?
Oh,
regardless of the people.
Oh, the people. I miss it not being as hot in the summers. I've had 90 and 100 degree days.
Sorry, I want to just be clear. You miss the heat.
No. I miss not having so many hot days. So the heat, I miss not having hot summers. The summers were somewhat hot, but not like this hot. And I knew it was going to be hot. So I would say that's the only thing I miss is like, it'd be nice if it wasn't 100 degrees today.
Okay, so weather, you miss the heat. You miss the mild temperatures of Los Angeles. Anything else?
Besides people? No.
Really? Okay, that's good. I like hearing that.
Hey, John, I have a quick question for John as a follow-up for that. If you knew COVID was coming, would you have changed your choice to go to Austin?
No, I would. No, I'm extremely grateful I'm here. It's I can still get a haircut.
Oh no, God, I want one of those. Thanks a lot for rubbing it in. And Brandon, the only reason why you like Minnesota is because your wife's family is there, but otherwise you would be out of there.
Fucking hate this state, man. I don't want to be here. Like I grew up in Iowa and I love Iowa, but I hate the winters. I'm literally here because I love my wife and her family's 2 hours away and we're close to her nieces. So like, that's why we're here. But I'm really close to doing the Nashville thing. But with that, I have to fly her family like nonstop because that's one of the things, being close to their family. But yeah, I don't know why somebody'd want to live in this state.
Hey, Ken.
And Nick, would you move? Are you moving out of Boston, Nick? Because I'm watching Teddy saying, man, the problem with Boston is the humidity in the summer. It sucks.
Yeah, it's pretty hot today. But I would either, if I'm going to move, I would move to California.
I know you loved it here. And it's a great place to be young. I agree.
Yeah.
As long as you don't make a ton of money, don't make a lot, move here because taxes will make you feel poor for a while. Let me go to Ethan. Go for it. Z, what's going on?
Hey, man. Hey, I got this halfway through, so I wasn't sure if you guys talked about downtown. I live, right in the middle of downtown, and I'm seeing everything you're talking about. People are leaving. There's 20 units available in my building now versus it was fully occupied before COVID hit. So, and I'm close with the building manager and whatnot, but wouldn't it be wise to do the opposite what everyone's doing? And just wait, let the city kind of empty a little bit? Obviously, the prices are going to come down quite a bit. Wouldn't it be a smart time to just hold steady and then buy in?
Well,
Right.
a lot of people are doing something similar. Either they're waiting for the bottom, which, by the way, just so you know, nobody knows they're buying at the bottom when they buy at the bottom. But a lot of people are getting in, and they're getting into, I'm assuming you're in downtown LA, right?
I'm right in downtown, yeah.
Okay, yeah. And this is happening in most of the big cities. But what's happening is people are either moving to properties that they never thought they could get to, right? Like they never thought they could reach because the prices are down, and either they're renting, higher up on the floor because they have to stay in the city for some reason, or they're buying a bigger place, or they're actually able to purchase in the city that they never thought they could because they are taking advantage of the extremely low interest rates and the lower prices. I mean, downtown LA, it's not like the suburbs of Los Angeles, which are seeing massive price increases. Downtown LA, the rents are down, the purchase prices are not strong. I mean, it's kind of mirroring a lot of the other big cities, more like New York.
I've seen that. There's a lot of
like San Francisco. There's a
Yeah,
lot.
but you got to see these plates. It's amazing. Hey, Jason, where are you located? Because I notice it's dark out. Looks like you're sitting on your
Great
porch.
places in downtown.
Yeah,
I love downtown.
I'm at the Jersey Shore right now, and it's been great. We live in Chicago, but we came here for 2 weeks. I grew up in Jersey, so I came back to see family. It's been awesome.
And we're in Chicago.
Right in the heart of the city, in a neighborhood called Bucktown.
Oh, you're Bucktown. I used to live in North Pier. Got it. But are you seeing that I mean, look what happened over the last couple of days downtown off of Michigan.
Yeah, so I'll give you an example. Today we had a orientation call with one of a pretty prestigious school in the city because our son's going to go there, and this is a school that's waitlisted, really hard to get into. And I asked the headmaster, and they said that they've had so many families leave, and now they're worried about the school being around. They went from a long wait list till they need families. It's awful.
A lot of private schools are looking like they might never reopen, between people leaving cities, moving around, and just not feeling safe to send their kids back to school. It's a big problem, but especially in New York, San Francisco, and in downtown, those schools, they might never reopen.
Yeah, but Jason, I mean, you're living downtown Chicago. It's cool, especially if you're single. It's a great, fun city as a single person. But living downtown now, is that a place you want to be in downtown Chicago? Or
no, it's not. So, I mean, we don't live in a high rise, but we do have a house in the city, and we moved from Manhattan, right? So when you're in Manhattan, you're living in Chelsea in a 1-bedroom, and you move to Chicago and you're like, what can I get for this? I'm used to paying this much every month. It's like 4 times the size. So when we first moved here, it's like you could live in the city. It's a livable city with a family. But right now, I mean, as a parent, your job is to protect your children first and foremost. And it's just not safe. My alderman has told me, he's like, if I were you, I would move. And this is a guy who's supposed to, he's like, the police are not going to help you. If you call 911, no one's going to come and help you right now.
That's
it's
a
awful.
problem.
Yeah.
It's like you need to go. I mean, if you could afford the Kenilworth area, the northern side, which is great, the Skokie side, or if you go out to St. Charles or Naperville, but now you're just in a suburb of a city. There's nothing unique about the suburbs of Chicago.
Yeah, so we're having some serious discussions right now as to where, a lot of our families back here in New Jersey. We may end up coming back here. The work thing's a little complicated. I have like a team that I run, and it's just very much a wait and see approach. It's not like I just get up and move. So early 2021, we have a lot of decisions to make as to where we're going to be and what we're going to do. But yeah, as far as people leaving the city of Chicago, I'm seeing it every day. I mean, they want out of Illinois altogether. The city's just, really backwards right now. And, the crime is a huge problem.
Are all urban areas seeing a really big increase in crime? Is that what the major driver is, not this virus?
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, I was 3 or 4 blocks away from looting, rioting. I have 2 young kids. My daughter was asking me, why are people fighting? Why are there helicopters over our house? I slept, with a baseball bat. Well, didn't sleep. I was up for 3 or 4 nights. That's never really happened to me before. So when that really starts, hitting home like that, you need to, like I said, as a parent, I know there's a lot of parents here, you got to protect your kids. And, I love the idea of them being in the city, ideally, because there's so much culture to have. I want them to see diversity. I want them to see how the world is. I don't want them to grow up on a golf course in the suburbs. I really don't want that at all. So that's what I'm struggling with. It's like, where's a great place to raise your family where they're safe and they're getting a good education, but they're also understanding how the world works as well. That's really the conversations I'm having with my wife right now.
Well, that's why the suburbs are kind of blowing up because, I get, Ken, you're just in the suburb of a big city, but the main drivers that are driving people out of the cities right now are security, safety, health, right? And so the beauty of living in a suburb is you get those things, but you can still go in and taste the culture and expose your kids to, the good parts of the city without having to live in all the muck. And
I get it, but Illinois is a fairly high tax state. Also, Cook County, especially, which is where Chicago is. It's really high. It's crazy, and the roads suck. The winters are horrible. People are becoming to be kind of dickish. It kind of sucks. It used to be a beautiful, wonderful city, and that's where I think the problem is, Jason, is maybe we start to look at everything as an option now, not just if Zoom is going to allow us to have our teams remote and then maybe come together once a quarter. Well, where are the options? Maybe Vancouver might be cool. Maybe I hate to say it, Miami. It's something I'm actually looking at might be cool. Or the Bahamas are paying for you to go there. The Bahamas have this new program where they pay up to $60,000 for you to come to the Bahamas.
Wow.
So maybe the options are so much more than we're looking at, and it's an exciting time right now as opposed to a scary time. Maybe the cities are basically yelling at us, get the hell out of us, get the hell out of here for a little while.
Yeah, I really do think we are seeing, these small little towns are going to be cool again. And I don't know, I think Mother Nature is actually kind of telling us, guys, you can't be living on top of each other. You got to spread it out a little bit. Like, being a native New Yorker, I just thought it was second nature. I got on the subway every day to go to work and go see people. There's people coughing all over you. I just thought that was the way it was. Clearly not.
Well, the thing about living in the big cities is about for the last 20 years, especially in the US, people have been migrating into the cities because they thought it represented safety. It represented city services. It represented education, all the things that people wanted. But now that's all completely changed. And I think what you're going to see is some cities will have to readjust and create amazing city services, become cleaner, become safer, kind of like a Colorado feel, right? And then other cities, you're just going to see this massive push back into small country towns that maybe haven't had a boom in the last 100 years or 50 years. I own a bunch of property out in the northernmost point of LA County. And, it's just land basically in the middle of nowhere, but there's a lot of it. And I've been getting offers. I've been getting offers of people who want to buy it and build or just live on it. You can't really build on it right now, but just people who just want to live out there because it's not close to anything and because they feel it's safer to be away from everybody when for the last 20 years, people thought being in a city with city services near hospitals and police was the way they wanted to live, so they're like you said, for culture and safety. Now
all that's changing.
All that's completely different. And it's going to change places like outside of the city, for example, like a Lancaster, which while it is hot and kind of inhospitable, places like that in other places where it's not really a desert are going to become a lot more desirable. Like, I mean, there's who's in Lake Tahoe right now?
Ryan.
Ryan, are you still here?
No, Ryan's not here anymore.
Ryan already popped out. Okay. So I was just talking to somebody actually up there, and she said there's no inventory there. So she's an agent there, and she's literally just going from door to door saying, hey, do you want to sell your house? I can offer you probably double what you think it's worth right now, cash. Because people want to get out of the cities, but they still want to live somewhere nice. So
let's do this. First, I want to congratulate John for loving where he lives. John loves Austin. He's got pictures of trees and of aquifers. That's great. Okay.
Hey, I love where I live. I'm not going anywhere. I love LA. I'm staying.
Setting the trend, John. Setting the trend.
You know, Z, I think you love your place.
Love Austin.
It is like a refuge up here. It's totally quiet. I don't hear anything way up here. But
yeah.
But I think I got something good going. I'm gonna wait. Prices are gonna plummet in downtown. I'm gonna get something.
It's gonna be like Detroit. Get it while it's hot.
Ethan, are you renting where you are right now, or do you own it?
No, I'm huh?
You rent.
I rent.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'd wait till November and then really look.
Yeah,
and I love living down
that's earlier than I thought. I thought it'd be well into next year. I'd say way earlier than I thought. But I can't wait for these prices to come down because there's some beautiful like lofts, like beautiful.
Well, what you're going to see is a short drop right around the election time. There always is, and there might be some strategic reasons to do it then and not wait longer. And I can talk to you about later because I know we're out of time. So.
All right, that's it. Hey guys, I want to appreciate you just kind of bantering and talking about things. Tomorrow or next week will be more focused. I kind of took it up for a different ride. Sorry about that, Nathaniel.
No, it was great.
It was awesome to have Brandon join us, who hates where he lives. So get some therapy on that. Sounds like you got to work on it. Where John loves where he lives. Jason, I don't know where you're going to live. So
I know.
You're in the world, in the middle of everything.
Right.
And Nathaniel, thanks a lot. Nathaniel, if people want to find you, hunt you down, where do they go?
They can go to my Instagram, which is @Getzels Group, or you can call me, or my number's in the lounge, so you can call me or go to Getzels Group though.
Go to the Instagram. The videos are the best. I love them.
Yeah,
all right, everyone.
Every day.
Bye, everyone. Bye, Nathaniel.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.